exact science? Absolutely not. Does it tell us to the minute? Absolutely not. But it can give us some ideas of how things were left here on the earth thousands of years ago. Okay? So we can have further conversation about that. But with carbon dating, they were able to find wood that would have existed back at the time that Noah's Ark happened, and it is physically there. There are pieces of it. There are other claims of people who have claimed they know where more is, but they don't want it destroyed by the press. So who knows? Does it really matter? Here's the thing. This is a story in the Bible. It is not a fable. It is not an untruth. It is a historical event that happened in the life of our world. To me, the carbon dating stuff is interesting. It's fun to look at and to see all of those things. But we need to look at the source of what we believe as believers, which is the holy word canon of God, and know that this happened, and here's some proof that might just back it in our world. So just an interesting perception. Lots of people have climbed up here to see it. It's quite a climb. It's the highest land elevation in Turkey, so it's an interesting place. It makes sense. That's where the ark would have landed if it's the highest level of where the flood happened. Just some very interesting things. Now, let's move a few chapters down. We know what happened with the ark. The flood happened. The birds were sent out. All of that. We know all that happened. Now let's continue. The flood's over. They're back on land. Picking up at Genesis 9. Then God blessed Noah and his sons and told them, be fruitful and multiply. Fill the earth. Okay? This is the command. Let's try again. Let's see if we can't figure it out this time. Picking up at verse 12. Then God said, I am giving you a sign of my covenant with you and with all living creatures for all generations to come. I have placed my rainbow in the clouds. It is the sign of my covenant with you and with all the earth. When I send clouds over the earth, the rainbow will appear in the clouds, and I will remember my covenant with you and with all living creatures. Never again will the flood waters destroy all life. When I see the rainbow in the clouds, I will remember the eternal covenant between God and every living creature on earth. Then God said to Noah, yes, this rainbow is the sign of the covenant I am confirming with all the creatures on earth. God likes the word covenant, but he doesn't take that word lightly. Here's a covenant with his people. I'm not going to destroy the world again. We're just going to go with what we got. And every time a rainbow appears, you will see that I promise you that God is a God of second chances. Jill and I sat down this week to put together the worship service, and we had a conversation about rainbows, and it was a fun conversation. I got to tell you, I went to work on Thursday and had to run some errands. I don't know if you remember back, Thursday was a cloudy day, but no rain, okay? It's important for you to know. The sun against the snow, because it was still on the ground, bothers my eyes terribly. This time of the year, I cannot drive unless I have sunglasses on because of the glare of the, okay, got it? So I'm driving back to Shady Rest, and in the sky was a little tiny hole that appeared to be about this big to me. I understand it's bigger, we don't need to go into that, but it appeared to be about this big. And right in that window was a rainbow. It was beautiful. I almost ran in and told everybody, but God stopped my heart and he said, that was for you. That was just for you. They don't need to run out and see it. They probably won't see it. That was yours. And I took off my sunglasses once I got parked at Shady Rest. And I looked up and it wasn't as clear. So I took my glasses off, put the sunglasses back on, there it was again. Just as bold as anything. God does those kind of things. The rainbow is still the church's. Okay? It's ours. The rainbow is the sign that God will not flood the entire world again because he's going to go with what we got. And he loves his people. sixth and seventh, and thank God for that, because we need them. Even through his anger at sin, he continued to give new opportunities. Even through his anger, even through his frustration, he found a way to start it all over again. How beautiful is that? Noah was a man of faith. Let's move on. Abraham. This is a man of obedience. This is a man who was the father not only of what Christians understand, because understand he wasn't ours first. He was the father of the Jewish nation. Do you understand also that he is the father of the Muslim nation and many other religions? A lot of religions claim roots back to Abraham, and we've interpreted it different ways. Abraham is the father of God's people. Anybody who calls themselves God's people. Let's read a little about him. When Abram was 99 years old, the Lord appeared to him and said, I am El Shaddai, God Almighty. Serve me faithfully and live a blameless life. I will make a covenant with you, see that covenant word here, by which I will guarantee to give you countless descendants. And here we are. The covenant came true. At this, Abram fell face down on the ground. Now what if he said, nah, not interested? Then this slide would have another name on it, because God would have found somebody. But God chose Abraham, and he was faithful. He fell down and said, okay, here we are. God found a willing heart. God found a willing heart. And you know what? That's really what he asks of us. He wants us to be willing. This is my covenant with you. I will make you the father of a multitude of nations. What's more, I'm changing your name. It will no longer be Abram. Instead, you will be called Abraham. For you will be the father of many nations. I will make you extremely fruitful. Your descendants will become many nations, and kings will come from them. God will always invest in the willing heart. Always, always, God will invest. Now, the next two slides we're going to kind of move through pretty quickly because you know the story. I put it up here. I'm not going to read it because it's a lot of reading, you'll see. Later on, through a lot of situations and a lot of things you surveyed if you did your assignment, we see that God tested Abraham's faith and gave him different ways to lead. And here's a situation where his son, who they didn't think he could have, remember he was 99? Okay, son came later. Now we're looking at the son is at least adolescence, if not even a little older, very possibly older. Some scholars tell us kids, some tell us young man. Somewhere after having the child that he can talk. That's all we know for sure. We got that much, okay? God says take him up to the land of Moriah, and there you're going to sacrifice him. So here, Abraham wanted a son of his own. He got it, raised the son, and now God's saying, give him up. Parents, can you even imagine a little? And this is the account of what happened, and the son went faithfully and kind of recognized that there was not a ram to sacrifice and asked some questions, and Abraham said, just hang in there. When they arrived at the place, Abraham built an altar. So see, this wasn't like a one-day event. They had to travel. He had to build the altar. So can you imagine the agonizing thoughts? But he was obedient. He was faithful. And here's what happened. Right as he put Isaac up to be sacrificed, the Lord called from heaven, Abraham, Abraham. Not just one time. Notice the explanation points. That is translated that God was being loud. Yes, here I am, Abraham said. Don't lay a hand on the boy, the angel said. Do not hurt him in any way, for now I know that you truly fear God.